Hey everybody, so one of the questions that I get a lot is, not questions, but things I see I posted online is how to build a bell siphon, things like that. And my recommendation usually is don't. I built a u-siphon this past year and I've liked it so much that I would never build a bell siphon again, basically. So in my media bed here, which is also my biofilter, you can see this one actually I think is just about started, not quite. You can see the level in the piping here. Normally you'd have a bell siphon with, you know, a cap that went over top and such. But this is much simpler to build, no moving parts, no holes. Doesn't need to be as finely tuned, and it's very simple to tune. So you can see down here I have underneath this bucket there is a fitting that goes through, a bulkhead fitting that goes through the bottom of my barrel, my IBC tote. And then I put my piece of pipe in it. I used 1 inch for this size. Then I do an offset with a 45 and across and then down. And then this piece comes down to, and this is how I set my water height. So this is, I think, about 1 inch or so from the bottom is what I've got it set at. None of this is glued. Probably could be, it wouldn't hurt it to be, but I like it not, because now I can twist this back and forth, either adjust it to fine tune it very simply. This works on the same principle as your toilet, so that the water level rises. You can see it's starting to drop there now. So it started, the siphon started. Just get down in here and you can see it. Right there. So it's the water level rises and it fills up this pipe to the point that it starts to spill over. When it spills over, the water pouring over seals off the air that would be coming up through from the bottom. And when it seals off that air, it starts the siphon. And so this works almost identical to the toilet in your home and how it siphons out. So the water level comes up, runs across, seals. As the water pours over, it seals off the air. No air can replace it. It begins to start to siphon and will siphon out. That's the principle of a u-siphon. You can see this one, and then basically the water level will keep dropping until it gets down, and then it'll start sucking air. I have this cut or twisted at a slight angle, and it'll start to pull air on one side, and it may kind of gurgle and suck for a little bit, and then it will break the siphon and start to fill again. And you can just twist this and put this on more or less of an angle as you need for the siphon to break based on the amount of water you have coming in. If you have too much water coming in, just adjust your valve. You can see over here I have a valve, and I can just adjust this open or closed to make it break sooner as I need. Still going down. This has got a fairly long, it's a pretty big tote, so it's got a fairly long cycle on it. And you can see it starting to create some little whirlpool there as it's sucking pretty hard. I found the bell siphon I used inside. I've never had one out here, but I used it inside, and I found that it just was too finicky. Everything had to be just perfect, and it took very little for it not to work. Let's see, you can see it almost getting down there, starting to suck a little bit of air around the bottom. So you can see and hear it sucking some air there now. And I could, if I wanted to adjust this, if I found that it wasn't actually breaking, I could twist this a little more to allow more air to come in. And it'll gurgle and it'll suck a couple times as it pulls enough air in. I was messing with my valve here a few minutes ago, so I may have to readjust my valve. May still be maybe coming in a little bit too fast. And there, I'd say that broke the siphon right there. Now it's refilling. So anyway, so that's a u-siphon. Very simple to build and easy to adjust, and I highly recommend it. Hope this helps.